We play for keeps, Cuddy. You ain't heard about the huddle fire with no with D-Lane. We tryna get it off the muscle. Walters caught the pick and ran it back without a tussle. Blow the whistle, coach is trying to get back to the huddle.
Welcome to the 510 Huddle podcast. It's your boy, Coach D Lane, in the building with my guy and my brother, per usual, Keaton. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing great, brother. And how are you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. Can't complain. My Eagles, 5-0, the only undefeated team left in the NFL right now. So I can't complain. And it's Cowgirls week, so you know I'm ready to go, brother. Got a lot to talk about today. Let's start here. Let's start with Monday Night Football. We got our Las Vegas Raiders against Kansas City Chiefs. They go on the road into Kansas City, put up a good fight. Was actually controlling the game for the most part, especially in the first half. And I thought they had action there, brother, for a little second. I know you said the pass rush would slow down, but it was
Yeah.
giving me flashes of the split 2 years ago when they beat the Kansas City Chiefs. As far as one, it's the same thing with any elite quarterback and regular any quarterback. If you can get pressure on the quarterback, you got action, and they were doing that pretty much early on. But they ended up falling short by 1 point to Kansas City, 30-29. What was your takeaway from Monday Night Football, brother?
I've never seen anything like them. The Chiefs are one of those rare teams where it's just like they just look for one thing to get them going. That call, that awful call just got them going. It's like, wow, you pissed us off, and now we're gonna just keep scoring and scoring and scoring, and there's nothing that you can do.
Fourth
That
straight.
was basically the game, honestly. I mean, the Raiders were in control, and that call happened, which the NFL has to do something. These calls are dictating games, and they're very lucky that Patrick Mahomes is the best player on the planet and he overcame it. Because if they lost with that call, it would have been a whole lot worse.
Well, let's stay there for a minute, brother. The ref and the passer calls that's going on right now in the NFL. Guys like Skip Bayless, man, are pissing me the fuck off. At least pertaining to this argument. Skip keeps trying to equivalent it to Tua's body slam. I think both are the second one. Neither one to me is really equivalent to the Brady's play. Maybe a little bit the Brady's play with the slam down, but I don't really see slam down or being swung. And then the one tonight was the worst of them all to me. One because it was a turnover, plain and simple. Secondly, Chris Jones puts his arm on the ground to brace himself before falling onto Brady, and then, or excuse me, onto Mahomes. And then lastly, he has possession of the football before he even falls on Derek Carr. I said Mahomes a minute ago. Meant to say Derek Carr. That made no sense to me, brother. At all. I thought if anything they were reviewing it to see did he get a clean strip or not. Like that was a turnover, bro. That wasn't no. That should have been Kansas City ball with a short field to go up. That shit pissed me off, bro. And it's just making the game soft, man. It's been a lot of injuries, a lot of soft tissue injuries early on in the season. Probably quite a few concussions too, because I've been seeing guys get concussions here and there. But it, those guys will be the first ones to tell you they know what they signed up for, man. It's part of the game, and at this point, it's really gonna get the flag. It's heading towards flag football because if you can't, guy, I tweeted tonight. Guys like Brady, especially if he gets this divorce, Brady can play the 50 if he wants to. If this is the way the referees are gonna call the games now, brother, from now on, Brady can really play until he's 50 plus if he wants to.
A few things. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember any outrage about the Tua hit. I thought it was just about the protocols that were broken. I mean,
I guess Skip was saying you
Mahomes,
can't. Sorry, brother. I guess Skip was saying you can't have it both ways because he was saying people wasn't complaining about the Tua slam, and he's saying that's the second one. So he's saying the Cincy slam by Tua was the same slam that Brady got, and he's saying you can't have it both ways. It can't be no complaints from Tua getting slammed by Cincy's player, and you're complaining about Brady's call. That's what he's saying, and
I
that's
don't
pissing
remember
me
there being an outcry about him getting slammed. I thought it was just about
off.
the protocol and him playing on Thursday after being wobbly on Sunday. But nevertheless, I mean, look, the game is what it is. They want to market the quarterbacks. They want showings on TV so moms across the country feel safe about signing their kids up to play football. And that's just the way that the game's going at this point. I mean, I hate it. And the only thing that I think that can really rectify this is doing what Troy Aikman said on the broadcast, which is just making this a reviewable call. Because at this point, this and pass interference, those are two huge penalties that really can dictate the outcome of games. Those type of penalties have to be reviewable.
I agree. Um, Anything else on this game? Derek Carr pissed me off throughout the middle of the game. Had me sweating to the last quarter for my fucking Devontae Adams 1 yard. I needed 1 yard from Devontae. Didn't get it until that last catch. But per usual, per usual, Derek Carr, he leaves something to be desired after every game and doesn't pull the trigger on every deep ball. I think that's probably why I had to wait to the fourth quarter for my parlay to cash in. But it was a
Mm,
cool night,
I
brother.
mean, look, I keep saying this. I know the record is what it is, and it's that for a reason. But the Raiders overall, like, they don't look like a bad team when I watch them play. I like a lot of the things that they're doing. I just think they're devoid of talent.
I was just about to say that. They don't look terrible, but at the end of the day, it looks like they just don't have enough talent,
They don't.
especially on defense.
And I keep saying it. It's like coaches can only do so much and can call up certain plays, and you can have the perfect play on offense or defense, but if you don't have the guys to get it done, it does not matter. So I think whatever expectation the Raiders had, I think they were skewed because of their miracle year last year. And Raiders fans are just going to have to be patient. I mean, this is definitely going to be a process, and I would say look out for them next year more so than really this year. And you know, I can't even say that fully because the NFC, I'm sorry, the AFC West and the entire AFC for that matter through 5 weeks has been completely, utterly overrated. I don't
I
think
still
any
think
team is really
they're
out of
better.
it.
I still think they're better than the NFC though, as a conference.
Yeah, but it's really not what we thought so far, and I think a lot of it is what I keep saying is preseason football and teams just not playing, so it's gonna take a while.
Well, that
But
brother, and then also you got to factor in. A lot of them are beating up on each other. Like we got the Bills and the Chiefs this weekend coming up. Can't wait for that. The Bills and Miami have played each other. Miami and the Ravens. Like a lot of them have beat up on each other already to start the
to a
year.
degree, but to me, like when I just watch the games, it's uneven.
Gotcha.
Like I know the Chiefs and Bills have both lost one game, but they've been the two best teams with Philly, arguably. And everyone else is just it's been uneven play. You see
Gotcha.
some really good and you see some things that are left to be desired. So that's basically it for this game.
My
Um,
my last thing on this game, brother, because I know I believe we have different views on this particular topic. I was against going for it for the two for the Raiders on that last touchdown, mainly because of a few things. I like I said with like I said with my tweet, I get it. I understand why to go for it. And I can very well understand the analytics saying why go for it. You know, you want those points. You want to go up. You are facing uh, elite talent in Patrick Mahomes at the end of the ball game. But my whole thing was, brother, either way, because say you do cash the 2 point, right?
Mhm.
Oh no, in hindsight, when you look back, okay, those are guaranteed points, or the field goal, the guaranteed point. My whole standpoint with it was take the guaranteed point, man, because I understand. Nobody's saying your defense is the Baltimore Ravens defense. If anything, your defense is the weakness of your team. We understand that, but my whole point was it wasn't like your offense has been clicking or firing on all cylinders neither. The run game been there for the most part all night. I will give my guy Jacobs that. I'll speak on him later. But I could see if you were the Chiefs. That's why I wasn't really mad. The Chiefs just went for I think the touchdown before that. I wasn't mad for got Pat Mahomes. You can go for it every fucking time. Lamar Jackson. If you got one of those guys in an offense like that, I can understand it or agree with it a little more. But the fact that you got the offense that you have, yeah, I understand on paper, especially coming in, it looked good. But as far as the offense that you have right now, how they perform this year, I didn't agree with that call, brother. I wanted you to get the guaranteed points and play defense, man.
This is really an interesting subject because overall, I definitely get it.
Me too.
It's not that I loved the call, but I definitely understood it. And something that fans are going to have to just live with now is a lot of these coaches, especially these newer coaches, they don't have full control to manage games. These owners are very invested in the analytic department that they hired. And a lot of these coaches can no longer go into owners' offices after tough games and give their coaching spiel. Owners really want coaches to listen and follow what the analytics guys say. And if you're a new coach, you're kind of handicapped somewhat. So we don't know what really went into that decision. So I'll just leave it with this. There's going to be a lot of times where I personally think coaches they want to do the sound football thing, but the analytics are going to say something else and they're going to err on the side of I want to continue to be employed.
Got you. Let's move on here, brother, to a Bay Area team here in our San Francisco 49ers. They go on the road, go to Carolina, Debo's hometown, to play the Carolina Panthers, and they put a smackdown on Baker and the Panthers 37-15. I believe Baker may be done. I don't know. I doubt it was Troy Aikman. I don't know who it was covering that game, brother, but the announcer had me rolling. They said, shit, Baker looked like he might be covering college football games here in a few seasons in the next year or two. Yeah, Baker looks terrible, man, but it's not all on him. The same way we'll probably touch on it later with Wentz and Washington with Rivera putting it all on him on the quarterback. It's not all on Winston. It's not all on Mayfield in Carolina, to be honest. But he
No,
does. Mayfield definitely does play a big part. You said something, brother?
I'm not the biggest Baker Mayfield guy, but I always thought he could play somewhat. I don't believe he's this bad. I don't care what your thoughts on Baker are. I don't believe anybody could have seen something like this.
Well,
And
is their O line worse than the Giants? I don't know because they have weapons. DJ Moore, they motherfuckers making it look like DJ Moore bum now. Is C Mac a bum? Like he has weapons, brother. He's not getting it done.
no, he's not. And I'll just say this. I've for what the Panthers have been running the last two seasons, it really has not been great. Um, and when you have quarterbacks that are uneven at best, also running that, it's not going to be pretty. Basically, what they do is an even more watered down version of what Cincinnati does at times. It's not creative. It's basically just having DJ Moore line up somewhere and say, just just beat your guy and figure it out. And Baker's not talented enough to overcome some of those things. He needs help with the scheme, and there's nothing wrong with that. The Panthers, they just got a lot of issues. Matt Rule is going to be fine. He's going to be coaching in college football somewhere next year. And there's not a lot to this game. I mean, the 49ers are just better.
It's not, brother, but follow me down on this trip and let me know if I'm tripping or not. Because I'm not sure if I'm just thinking from a better perspective here. Because I had Debo on one of my betting slips this weekend, and I think I
Mhm.
actually had his first half because he been tearing shit up in the first half. And when the game started, like I said to start this segment, oh, Debo's at home. They're playing in Carolina, so I'm like, oh yeah, Debo gonna get off. He's gonna have a great first half. Man, we go the whole first half. I don't think Debo touched the ball in the first half, so that ticket was washed. But I'm just watching the game unfold for real, brother. And then I'm thinking back to last week. I understand Trent Williams is out right now, so you got to use Kittle to block a little bit more. But Kittle was ineffective last week. Not didn't really do much damage this week. He did lead them in catches with 5. But I'm watching the Niners, man. It's crazy because I picked them as my coach of the year candidate coming into the season. But I have this takeaway. Tell me if you agree. With Kyle, he
Mhm.
kind of reminds me of like he's taking the fucking Popovich approach. Like this shit ain't basketball. As far as like he's taking Popovich approach as far as everybody gets touches. Like when I watch a San Francisco 49ers game, I don't want to see fucking I don't even know who the fuck it was last week, number 83 or 88, the backup tight end. I don't want to see Jukes is cool, Gray is cool, but I don't want to see these other guys getting targets. Like, why isn't Ayuk getting the ball? Why isn't Kittle getting the ball? Why isn't Debo getting the ball more consistently? So I don't know. I just come away with a takeaway that it seems like Kyle doesn't routinely try to get his best playmakers the football on a consistent basis. To me, he looks more of a system. He believes in his system. He's a system guy, and everybody gets touches type deal. I don't like that shit, me personally. What do you feel like, brother?
I do think that's part of it. He definitely is a believer in his system. I think another part of it, which is something that I think 49er fans are finally starting to come to realize, is who's pulling the trigger at quarterback. When I watch the games from like an all 22 angle, you can tell that a lot of those progressions, like his main guys are actually the primary reads. Jimmy doesn't always read and see the field right. And or maybe I should say well. So so like you aren't wrong because he really is a believer in his system overall, but I do think part of that is who he has pulling the trigger at quarterback. So there's definitely a mixture with that.
Got you. Anything else on this game? Are you good?
No, 49ers just better. Yeah. And I saw this earlier too. Don't be surprised if the Panthers are selling.
I was just about to say, so it was something I was gonna bring up and just throw it to you as a curveball at the end of the show. But I've heard C-Mac maybe on the trade block now that Matt
He should
Rule
be.
got yeah, now that Matt Rule has been fired. Brother, if you're the Bills, and we had this conversation like a week ago about Saquon or Odell, who would be a better fit, whatever. What about C-Mac or Odell? Who would have better impact for the Bills right now if they picked up either one?
I would still say Odell just because of the way that they're built.
You
Uh,
know me, I'm going.
Just
I'm going with
just
C-Mac.
having three guys that can create separation, two of them consistently, and then having a third guy do
That
that.
boy Shakur don't look bad either, brother. The boy from Boise, he had himself a game.
He did, but again, we're talking about consistently.
I got you. I got you. You know me. I still believe the Bills' one weakness is just getting some type of juice and productivity out the run game. And I believe C-Mac can provide that for sure.
I would agree more so with Saquon than C-Mac at this point, even though he's still really good. I would agree more with Saquon than Christian at this point.
Facts. As a player for sure. And
Mhm.
yeah, I'm not even. I think Saquon's number one to right now. We talked about it before. I believe Nick Chubb is the best
Hmm.
pure runner right now at the position. But I believe Saquon's the best all around doing it running back right now in football.
Well, I mean, you also know this. The only reason we didn't have him in our top five, or let alone number one, is because there is literally nothing to justify us having that other than being fans.
Facts. Let's move on. Cowboys at the Rams, brother. It looks
I
like we
told
just
you.
have. Yeah, it just looks like we're having the same issues for the Rams. Rams, man. I don't have a lot. Um, O line issues. Got a little more out the run game this past game, but still need something out from there. And then Cup and Higby leads you in catches and targets again. It just can't happen, man. If you want any type of action, you're gonna have to divvy up those targets, man. Get Allen Robinson involved. I know, man, you had a conversation as well off air as far as Allen Robinson may just not be getting open right now, creating no
Yeah.
separation whatsoever. But I still put some of that on McVay. Not so much on Stafford if he's not getting open, but more so on McVay as far as, hey, man, motion them around, put them in the background, a backfield or something. Just get them open, man. Shit, try to find a way to get them open because you cannot win a game force feeding the ball to one guy on the perimeter with no fucking run game. It's one thing if you have a run game. They don't have a run game neither.
I mean, that's the issue. They can't protect Matthew Stafford, and they can't run the ball. So basically, your offensive line, they cannot pass block, and they can't run block. You're not going to win many games. It's just that simple. I think the Rams defense is solid. I don't think they're as good as they were last year, but they are good enough. Matthew Stafford every play is running for his life, and I know his touchdown to interception ratio is not great, but I don't care who you are. Maybe Patrick Mahomes, because I've seen him do it for like 2 straight years. When your offensive line is that bad and they cannot protect you, it's just hard. And I don't care what you scheme up. If you can't block in the run game or pass game, you're just not going to win many games. And that's why I picked Dallas, because I was like, Dallas is just better
You
at this
did
point in the
have
game.
Dallas. I think I had the Rams in this
Yeah,
one.
like they're just better at this point.
Yeah.
They literally are just a team that has a few guys at the top with names, and they just won it all last year. So people think that they're this great team. It's like, no, they're not. They're not a very good team right now, and I don't see that changing.
Me neither. Got anything else on this game? I'm not gonna touch much on Dallas,
No.
man. I'm gonna save my Dallas comments. We'll talk Dallas Philly on the second pod later this week because
Yeah, no.
that's a big game. Anyway, let's move on. Cincinnati Bengals at the Baltimore Ravens. What was your takeaway, brother?
Well, I'm disappointed a little bit in Cincinnati. Their offensive line is even worse than I thought because Baltimore was able to get pressure.
Man,
And
that's all you were saying all week.
Lyle Collins, if he's hurt, I really hope that they release it, because coming into the year, if we were ranking guys, I would think pretty much everybody would have had him as a top five right tackle. He's literally a bottom five right tackle right now. He's bad right now, and I don't get why. Because he's not old. You don't just fall off a cliff like that. So he has to be hurt. But anyways, uh, Lamar Jackson's awesome. I think the Ravens just made it harder on themselves. He missed two or three throws that could have really busted open the game. And bottom line is, if it's under 70 yards, Justin Tucker's money, and he's worth whatever they're paying him and probably more.
Yeah, facts about that one. Um, yeah, I don't really have much on this game. Lamar does what Lamar always does, make plays. He really could have ended this game a lot earlier. Lamar overthrew a few balls. I know one or two to Duvernay. I was a little shocked by the Baltimore Ravens' approach offensively, just because, especially without Bateman. Bateman, they were a little. I guess you could say they were balanced because they had 28 runs and 32 passes from Lamar. But I just thought they would be a little more run heavy. Try to get Dobbins a little more involved. I wonder if he's still on a play count or something because he only had 8 carries, but he had it for 44 yards, so he was averaging 5.5 on the ground. So I thought we'll see a little more J.K. Dobbins, but Duvernay definitely looks good. He was balling for Lamar and Mark Andrews, doing what Mark Andrew always does. You're putting it on the O line, brother. Like I said, last few weeks, Burrow only got sacked twice. Yeah, pressure was there on him, um, at least way more than we expected coming from Baltimore. But I more so got an issue, especially after that game with Taylor, man. And I had it last year, and I was kind of pissed off that the Bengals made the Super Bowl last year because I thought it kind of covered up a lot of Taylor's flaws and
It did.
mishaps from last season, man. And I'm not seeing it offensively as far as the creativity, getting
No,
got like I'm gonna sit back this week, brother. I'm gonna watch some of their games from last year and see if it, like you said, is it the same shit as far as
it
was it
is.
these guys are just like, oh, we had better guys last year and they were
It
just
is.
winning off pure athleticism because
They
I'm
were.
not seeing enough motions. I'm not seeing enough shifts. I'm not seeing enough misdirections and just creativity on the offense at all, man. Like you got too much talent. Like Joe Burrow actually, excuse me, Joe Mixon actually had a good night on the ground. He was 14 for 78, 5.6 on the ground a pop. So yeah, man, I expected a lot more out of Cincinnati. I expected them to take a lot more advantage of the of Baltimore's back end, and kudos to Baltimore's back end and defense. They stepped up and dropped their nuts and really showed up this past weekend. So I got to give them their credit.
Well, everything that look, their offense last year before he was seeing double coverage as much was Jamar line up and beat your guy 1-on-1. This year it is Jamar line up and beat 2-on-1 or 3-on-1. And also, I want to say this going back to, I think we brought it up on the last pod about Tyler Boyd. He's been close to non existent. I don't know what's up with that, but I'm going to put
Yeah, I
that
thought
on the
that would have been
offense. I'm
we
going to
all
put that
thought
on the
that was gonna
offense
be a
too.
perfect Boyd game, brother, especially with Higgins out.
Their offense, man, it's
Yeah,
not creative. And that play on the goal line, teams, if you are
Philly,
not the
Philly.
Kansas City Chiefs, do not run their stuff. As great as Joe Burrow is, he's not Patrick Mahomes, and he looked uncomfortable running that little shuffle pass at the goal line.
Oh, you talking
Please,
about the shuffle? I thought you was talking about the little fake ass Philly they did.
no. Well, that was awful too. Just run your damn offense
Got too
and,
many fucking
and
weapons,
make the
man.
game simple. It's a simple game. I know everybody tries to make it so complex. It's truly a simple game.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. It really is. Like you, my high school coach used to say, man, we're not fucking trying to reinvent the wheel here. All right,
No.
man. Like the game's been played over 100 years. The game's been here, been there. It's been there, done that. It's a very simple game, man. You don't have to overcomplicate this
Yeah.
shit. All right. Offenses, they want to divide and conquer. Defenses, they want to rally and tackle as one unit and all swarm and get to the football. It's really that simple. It's really that simple.
Yeah, some of these wannabe offensive play callers, they literally think creativity is running some weird stuff that they saw Andy Reid do. It's like, no, that doesn't mean creativity.
Yeah. Let's move on, man. One of the last games we'll cover here. My Eagles, brother, at on the road at AZ. I'm hella mad, bro. I looked at the schedule before the season. I did not realize we was in Arizona. I would have went to this game. I fucking love AZ. I'm not sure about you, but I love Arizona. I would have went
That's
to this
all.
game. Yeah. Um, but my Eagles, we win 20-17. Uh, I'll say this, brother, and it's the same thing I've been saying about my team the last few weeks, right? When I talk to you about them, as far as we just have these stall outs, man. So We scored 14 in the first half, then we scored 3 and 3 in the second half, three in the
Mhm.
third, and three in the fourth. So the one bright side or good thing, I don't like. Excuse me, I don't like that, especially going into playing Dallas, a stout defense, a defense that I believe they said has only allowed every team they played so far to score only one touchdown. So I'm like, oh shit, okay. So I've watched their defense, especially with Micah. They're for real, and they can
Mhm.
travel. But my issue is us stalling out either in the first or second half on offense. But the one bright side to that is we haven't played our best football yet. A lot of people think we have. A lot of people think, oh, we're the Eagles 5-0. They're beating teams. They're beating teams left and right. But if you're not really watching my team play, you really wouldn't know. We haven't even played our best football yet. We haven't played a game where all three phases really dominate. The closest game maybe you can say was Minnesota. But even then, we haven't played a complete full game yet. So I'm good. I'm good with where my team is right now. I'm happy that we pulled out this tough, close win. It's always a great feeling to pull out close wins because it lets you know what type of backbone and resolve your team has. So I'll definitely take that in the W. And yeah, man, same story with Cliff and Kyler. Offense looks a mess.
This game is simple. I keep telling you, you just have to embrace your team. They're just better. They're better than pretty much everyone. Until they play somebody like the 49ers, they're just better. Maybe Tampa, but in terms of the NFC, I don't see anybody except for probably the 49ers that's as good as they are.
You got us beating Dallas this weekend.
I think that'll be a good game. I'll have to think about that more, but just my knee jerk reaction, yeah, I do.
I'm trying to look up the spread.
But overall for this game, I think they just do what is needed to be done. They're not looking for style points. They're just getting it done, and that's what matters at this point. It's just building and getting better. I do think that this game was kind of a semblance of why I keep saying Jalen Hurts will not win will not win the MVP unless they go 16-1 or 17-0. Um, I think he's improved a lot and that he's a really good player. I think he's answered that question of is he a starting quarterback? The next question he has to answer is can he be like that guy? Not just somebody that runs their offense, but can the offense truly run through him, especially when it matters most? Um, but he's not going to really have to answer that question. Maybe this week coming up with Dallas, but I do think that his playmakers will make enough plays. And just off the top of my head right now, I do think the Eagles will squeak out a win.
Right now, it opened up. Dallas is at Philly. For some reason, I thought we were going to Dallas, but
Oh,
Dallas
same
is
here.
at Philly. Is -5.5 right now. Philly.
5.5. Yeah, I'll probably have to take Dallas on that one, honestly.
I won't lie. That's about right, brother. If you factor in that their Vegas is probably factoring Cooper Rush. If it was Dak, I'd probably say it'd be at 3, and that's even because you know they give you 3 for being at home. So they're probably factoring in Cooper Rush with the
I
5.
get it, but the last thing with that is again, he's never going to be the reason that you win games. But when you're a quarterback like him, even if you're not the reason that, even though you're not the reason that your team is winning, you damn sure cannot be a reason you are losing. And he's doing his job. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. So still, I think 5.5 is too much, honestly.
Got you. Um, yeah, I want Dak to play because I don't want to hear no excuses from Cowgirls fans. But anyway, let's move on, man. Couple topics here for you before we end off the pod. Let's start right here, though. Let's talk about a coach that's coaching his ass off right now, man. Coming into this year, I gotta say, I probably had him right down there with the Bears, man, as far as talent and just a shitty roster and
So did
not a
I.
good football team. The New York Football Giants, man, and Brian Daboll is coaching his ass off right now. Coach Daboll is 4-1. They just went over to the UK, beat Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur. I forget the score of that game, 27-20, I believe, but beat them out over there in London in a dominant performance. And I just gotta say, man, I love the way they're calling it on offense, man. He has his guys ready and prepared to play week in and week out. Quarterback, mid pack at best. Offensive line can't really name you a star. I think their left or right tackle is pretty good. Whatever.
Yeah, Andrew Thomas is real. He's
Yeah,
real.
Thomas. Yeah, left tackle, right?
Mm,
Yeah, he's good, but not really many name brand guys on the O line, and you're just getting it done, man. Your top three, I think, top three or top four receivers is out this game,
mm.
and you're just getting it done with Saquon, man. Even if you fucking got to go wildcat at times, and even when they're going wildcat, they're just the way he called Daboll manipulates his personnel is just unbelievable, man. He's getting unbalanced looks out of Wildcat, creating mismatches on the edges for Saquon to be able to get hit different creases and lanes in the run game. And I had to put this on the script for the night, brother. And just I wanted to give that guy his flowers, or at least tip my hat to him, because he's calling the hell out of it right now without a quarterback. And I can't. The New York Giants are going to be scary for the next few years, especially if Daboll gets him a quarterback.
He's definitely coach of the year, and it's not close.
Right now, for sure.
And it's not close right now. But here's part of what I was saying before. I think in our text thread, you can win games with Daniel Jones. He's not bad. Now that he has Saquon healthy and he finally has an actual coach, you can see that he's not a bad player. Does that mean he's this superstar? No, that does not mean that at all. But you can win games with him, especially when you have a guy like Saquon with his legs and keeping the defense honest and him scrambling. All of that stuff matters and really helps them win. Um, I really like their defense. They're not overly talented, but they execute and really get the job done. Um, Honestly, I got to give it up. I thought the NFC East would have been the worst division in football, but right now they are number one.
It's looking like them early 2000 years, brother. The NFC beast. Looking like one of those old school years, man. I love it right now. I love it. All teams are playing ball right now outside of the fucking Washington Commanders, but their name is shitty, so that's another topic for
They
another
should have
day.
stuck to the Washington football team.
Yeah, let's dive into here, brother, because I really want to get to this topic because I might shock you here
Mhm.
about one of my teams on my list. So
Yeah.
let's talk. Let's transition to our Power Five rankings, our top five Power Five rankings heading into Week 6. What's your five, brother? We can go back and forth.
Chiefs 1, Eagles 2, Bills 3, 49ers 4. And again, fifth spot's hard. Everybody's so together right now and in the middle of the pack. Um, so for me, I kind of made it. I went with the Giants because they keep surprising me.
Uh,
Like they are not going to be there in like 2 weeks, but they keep surprising me, and I'm just gonna give them love, honestly.
Hey, we on the same wavelength, brother. As far as just at least seeing this topic the
Exactly.
same way, as far as this is a week to week thing, right? It's
Yeah,
cool.
it is.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm not mad at the Giants because I was considering them for this spot too. But I went with another team that, just like you said, I don't think they'll be here even next week. But as far as right now, brother, I love what the fucking New York Jets are doing. I'm gonna go with the other New York team. I love what Robert Saleh and the crew is doing, man. And I know they just beat up on who they just beat on
The
the
Dolphins.
Dolphins without Teddy Bridgewater. Waddle was banged up and Hill was a little banged up. I get it, but that defense was still there, and
Mhm.
they were doing their thing. I love what Robert Saleh and the New York Jets are doing, man. And they got talent. They got talent everywhere
They
too.
do.
Young talent, and they had themselves a very good off. My brother JP gonna love this segment. You know JP a Jets fan.
Yeah, he is.
Um, but I told him like earlier this week, like, hey, bro, y'all done had two really good off seasons, man, and y'all got a lot of talent, and everybody keep talking about Sauce. Sauce is nice, but that other
Yeah,
boy on the other side, and I was telling Johnny Reed, he
yeah,
nice too. He
yeah.
can
He's
ball,
nice.
man. He can ball. So when you got two weapons like that on the edges, on at the corner position, I know Salah is licking his chops defensively from a game planning standpoint because it can make you be very versatile in your pressure situations and what you want to call as a defensive coordinator. And yeah, like I said, man, if Zach Wilson can just keep developing and taking those next steps, Brees Hall is a fucking stud. Like I said, I had him as my offensive rookie of the year. Maybe he can get it going now. Um, but yeah, they got a bunch of talent, brother. I had them at my fifth spot. The Jets. I had the Niners at 4, my Eagles at 3, the Chiefs at 2, the Bills at 1. But yeah, I had to throw the Jets in there.
Zach Wilson is the number one quarterback from that draft class, and it's kind of by default right now. And I don't disagree with anything that you said. Even though five for me is a little bit too high. If we did 10 teams, they most definitely would have been in my top 10. Um, they're just fun to watch, and they have a lot of young talent that is blossoming right now. So everybody in New York, it's a great time to be a New York sports fan.
Right. Shit, the Mets got a chance. The Mets got a chance this year, man. Shit, they it's a good time to be a New York sports fan for sure. Let's move on. We got about what, two more segments here. Let's end off with our most fun to watch and Robinhood segments. Let's start off with most fun to watch, brother. Who you got for this weekend, man?
Most fun to watch. Let me pull up my notes so you can go first, honestly,
I
because
will
I wrote
go.
down like
I'll
5 names.
go. I'm not sure if this is a first for us, brother, as far as taking a guy from a losing team. Maybe not. But I gotta go Josh Jacobs, man. My guy's in a contract year, and he's running the fuck out of that football. Excuse me, man, but you know how I love my running backs, brother, especially that's
True.
cut from that old school type cloth that's downhill, run behind his shoulder pads. He averaged fucking 7.3 on the ground tonight, 21 carries for 154 yards. Last week he showed his ass too against the Broncos, a elite defense. You just gotta tip your hat to this man. I hope he actually gets paid, man. And I'm actually happy to see that McDaniel's is leaning into him a little bit, and that's probably what has them looking better from a football team standpoint the last 2 weeks is the fact that they have gotten a little more balanced, or if not run centric with Josh Jacobs. I love it, man, and I just had to give him either Robin Hood or most fun to watch. So I just went with most fun to watch because he's running the hell out of that football right now.
I mean, I could really pick Mahomes every week, but I'm gonna go with the other guy. I'm gonna go with Josh Allen.
Okay.
The way he just whooped the Steelers, man. Look,
Throws.
I thought 14 was too high.
We
And in
both
the
did.
opening like minute of the game, I was like, oh, maybe. And then of course they do Bills things and they make it a little bit harder. And then all of a sudden they just explode. The way he just makes the game easy. And I keep saying he really just makes the game easy. He really does.
Man, those just flip of the wrist throws. Those
Yeah.
two throws to Gabe Davis downfield, like flip of the
Effortless.
wrist, man. Just effortless. Let's move on. Robin Hood, brother. Who was your Robin Hood for the weekend?
For me, it was Derek Stingley Jr. Shout out
I
to him
got a
because
pick.
he got his first career interception. Um, I loved him at LSU and I liked him in high school too. And I'm happy to see him playing well because I know the last 2 years for him were pretty rough. His teams at LSU were awful, and he was hurt. I'm glad to see him finally healthy and just getting back to being who he truly is, which is a lockdown corner who has great match and mirror ability and great instincts. He's awesome to watch.
Brother,
I love Baltimore Jr.
his true freshman year was the year Burrow and then won the Super Championship, right?
Yeah,
Got you. Yeah, love the kid. Just gotta get his IQ up a little bit because he wasn't supposed to run that ball out. Set his team up bad. I think brought him out or left him on like the 2 yard line. Anyway, I for Robinhood, I actually went with a coach and a unit and a player, all three in one. I went with the Giants offensive line, Saquon and Daboll. Man, I had to tip my hat to those guys because they're playing football right now, especially at offensive line. Like I said, coming into the football season, I believe I had them down there with the Bears, bro. Especially just with talent. Like I didn't see a lot of talent with this football team and I did not expect none of what we're seeing right now out of Dayball and the crew. But let's end off here, brother. Me and brother have a different type of approach that we want to do with our Flaming Five for you guys. So moving forward, we do 2 podcasts a week. The first podcast each week, we'll just look at a few lines, talk about a few, or just look at a few quick games, see which ones look possibly interesting to us to add to the Flaming Five. And then Thursday, the second pod, Thursday or Friday, when we bring you the second pod of the week, we will drop a Flaming Five on your head tops. Okay. So let's run through these quick games real quick, brother. I'll run through the games and matchups and the spreads. And if you hear anything, just stop me or tell me if you think we should possibly add that or not.
okay, sounds
I
good to
think
me.
we should stay away from this shitty ass game right here. It's Thursday night football. Just when we thought we couldn't get no worse from last week's Thursday night matchup, where we didn't get a touchdown until the overtime period with the Colts and the Broncos. We got Washington at the Bears minus 1.5. The Bears are the Bears. I might take that Washington. I don't know. Washington spread. Sure.
Dude, I'm taking the
Yeah.
Bears. I'm
Are you
taking the
taking the
Bears.
Bears?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
taking the Bears.
all right, well, whenever we disagree on the game, we should just stay away from it. So let's stay away from it. But I don't know, brother. I don't know.
From what I finally saw from Fields and that offense, with them finally letting him throw and just open it up, that is enough for me to just take the Bears because the Commanders are a dumpster fire, and Ron blamed everything on Carson Wentz this afternoon.
Got you.
My
Yeah,
God, like
that's
I
a good
love
concern.
Ron, but he
Me
has to
too.
check himself because he is a defensive coach, and his side of the ball the last 2 years has been awful.
Facts. Facts.
So
Um,
Carson,
no facts. I agree with everything you said, brother. Tampa at Pitt. It's minus 7.5. Tampa. We might be able to add this one. I like Tampa beating their ass,
yep.
or at least covering that. Yeah, we may be able to add that one.
Mhm.
Jacksonville at the Colts, minus 2.5. The Colts. Might stay away from this one. I don't know.
I'm staying away because right now Trevor Lawrence is playing like he did last year.
Yeah.
And Indy, for some inexplicable reason, when I think they're just a dumpster fire and done, they just find some way to win when they don't deserve it. So I'm
Shout out
staying
Gus
away.
Bradley, man. Gus Bradley, the Colts defensive coordinator. He's doing a pretty solid job. Might we probably got we gotta take this one, brother. This might be one of our locks, especially if Jameis is still out. Cincy at the Saints minus 1.5 Bengals.
Cincy minus 1.5 at the. Yeah, I would take that for sure.
Like that, especially if like Thomas and Jameis is out. Now this is a good one that me and you both might like the underdog to cover here. The Jets on the road at Green Bay +7. So
What is
the
up
pack
with
the
the
Packers are
Packers love? Like I just, yeah,
we might have to throw that one on there, huh, brother?
100%.
For sure. Yeah, I like that one. Uh, uh, this team like I said, they ain't fucked me already enough the last few weeks. I'm cool. Maybe you feel differently. New England at the Browns. The Browns are favored -3. I'm good. I'm staying away from it.
Yeah, New England does have their question marks, but Coach Bill Belichick will always have that defense ready because, as we saw with them shutting out the Lions, and I think that whole Jared Goff resurgence talk can stop finally. Thank God.
Facts. Uh, this might be a good one. Hey, this might be one we have to watch until all the way up to Sunday morning, brother. Literally, for real. Just because I don't like their defense, but I believe their offense can cover it. Many Minnesota on the road at Miami. Right now, it's Minnesota favorite -3. Depending on who's at quarterback and Waddle and Hill status, I may take Minnesota. May take them.
My heart and head want to, but it's just like they always do something. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, logical reasons is yeah, but
got you. Coming into the season, this may have been a lock, a guarantee lock. Right now, I'm not so sure. Baltimore on the road at New York Giants. The Giants are underdogs +5 at home.
taking it. I'm taking the Giants to cover.
I don't know about that one, brother. I
Well,
gotta sleep on
Baltimore
that.
might win, but I'm taking them to cover.
Got you. I might have to sleep on that one. I think this might be another lock for us. 2 weeks in a row for this team, just playing shitty ass quarterbacks with an elite defense. The Niners go on the road at Atlanta -5.5. The Niners.
Taking the Niners to cover. Just off the top of my head.
Now, probably a stay away from this one, but the underdogs could cover. Will depend who's at quarterback because I think Baker might be out. Carolina on the road at the Rams. Right now it's at -10.5. The Rams. I like the Rams too, especially the win here, but that's a lot of points for a team that's struggling to say the least.
PJ Walker's going to be at quarterback most likely.
Is Darnold still on IR or something, or is he hurt?
I think he comes off because I think he was on the short term one, which is only 4 weeks.
Gotcha.
Or ooh, I don't remember. I don't care. Look, all I gotta say is if the Rams can't win that game, they're in real trouble. So I'll take the
Convincingly.
Rams.
No, they need to win convincingly.
Yeah, so I'll take the Rams.
Might stay away from this one. I don't know. I do kind of like AZ here, but no, I don't because I don't fuck with Cliff. AZ on the road at Seattle is -3 right now. AZ.
No, I'm not betting on the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm staying away from it. Game of the week, man. Probably one of the games of the year right here. Buffalo on the road at Kansas City. I like the over under here right now. It's only at 53.5. Shit,
Is
the
it at
Raiders in it.
Kansas City?
Well, right now it's -2.5 the Buffalo. So you like Kansas City to cover that?
Yeah, because they're playing at Buffalo, right?
No, they're playing at Kansas City.
Oh, really? Wait, what's it at? It's two and a
Buffalo's
half?
favored by 2.5.
No, I'm taking that all
That
day
may
long.
swing or probably get even. You
No, I'm
taking
taking that
Buffalo?
all day
Taking
long.
Buffalo or Kansas City?
Kansas City,
Yeah, facts to
and
cover.
they're
Right.
winning. They're going to come out just like they did against Tampa.
I can't say if they're gonna win. I'll say this. I think that game's a little more even, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is a pick 'em by the end of the week. I'll stay away from it, but excuse me. I love the over under here, brother. Like I said, Kansas City and the Raiders was just at 51.5. Buffalo and Kansas City's at 53.5. I like the over under here.
Same here, but I got Kansas City winning.
Got you. Last two. My Eagles at home versus the Cowgirls. -5.5. My Eagles. I know you say you already got Dallas covering on that one. I got my Eagles midline. Over under might be cool here. I don't know. It's 42.5. Might be cool, but Cooper Rush is a question. That one. Last game. Last game. Denver at the Chargers. The Chargers are favored -4.5. I don't know. May stay away from this one. What you think?
Going against my better judgment, I will take the Chargers to cover.
Hmm.
Again, going against my better judgment, but Denver is such a dumpster fire. There's no way. Absolutely no way.
You got anything else, brother?
No, that's it for me.
All right, man. Well, hey, we appreciate you guys for listening. Listening in. Follow us on all social media platforms at the 510 Huddle and at the 510H. Thank you for listening. Have a good night.
Thank you guys.
We play for keeps, Cuddy. You ain't heard about the huddle fire with no with D-Lane. We tryna get it off the muscle. Walters caught the pick and ran it back without a tussle. Blow the whistle, coach is trying to get back to the huddle.